Amidst the quiet of the grasslands, the lion initiates a sequence of actions, starting with movements that are almost imperceptible. It does not lunge immediately. Instead, it observes, calculates, and waits for the precise moment. The tension generated by the lion builds steadily with every step and every subtle shift in distance. When all elements align and the timing is perfect, what is it that truly determines the final outcome? Inhabiting open woodlands and grasslands near water sources, zebras are widely distributed across Africa, with significant populations in South Africa. They travel in herds, often associating with wildebeests to enhance their ability to detect danger. While sight and hearing provide early warnings, reliance on the herd formation can sometimes slow individual reactions. This slight delay creates a small opening, an opportunity that places the zebra squarely in a lion's sights. From this vantage point, a lioness lies in ambush within the brush, keeping her body low and minimizing movement. She monitors the herd's rhythm, gauges the wind direction, and closes the distance. The moment an individual strays from the formation, the time to strike arrives. With the safety gap gone, the lioness lunges, forcing the prey to react within a split second. The zebra reacts quickly but fails to create enough distance to escape. It turns to rejoin the herd, only to find its path cut off. The lioness closes in, seizing the neck and maintaining constant pressure. As other members of the pride arrive to assist, the zebra's resistance fades. It is brought down, and the hunt concludes decisively. This outcome is the result of a sequence of precise actions, ranging from initial observation to the perfect moment of attack. While the zebra herd relies on collective vigilance for safety, even a minor deviation is enough to alter the situation entirely. The prey is then dragged to a secure spot, becoming a source of nourishment for the entire pride. Warthogs inhabit savannas, open woodlands, scrublands, and semi-arid regions near water sources, frequently moving between grazing grounds and areas containing burrows. They utilize burrows originally dug by warthogs for shelter and rearing their young. Possessing a keen sense of smell and hearing allows them to detect danger from afar. Consequently, their foraging is punctuated by frequent pauses to scan the surroundings. These repeated, brief pauses create a vulnerability. However, as their attention becomes fragmented, a lioness exploits this lapse in attention. She has been stalking the warthog for hours, keeping her body low and weaving through the brush to remain concealed. She approaches from downwind, steadily closing the gap. When the warthog lowers its head for an extended period, the moment to strike is set. The lioness accelerates. The silence gives way to a short, swift, and decisive chase. The warthog turns and runs toward the nearest burrow, but its escape route has already been cut off. There is insufficient distance to flee, and the lioness quickly closes in. Within seconds, the prey is subdued and dragged from the open ground to a secure location. The hunt concludes with a clear victory for the lioness. This sequence demonstrates a tightly controlled progression of actions, from initial observation to the precise timing of the attack. While the warthog remains vigilant to minimize risk, even a momentary lapse is enough to forfeit its advantage. In open terrain, the outcome often hinges on the ability to capitalize precisely on those final, critical seconds. Distributed across East and Southern Africa, wildebeest congregate in large numbers, particularly in Namibia, migrating seasonally in search of fresh grass and water. These migrations involve millions of animals, often moving alongside zebras and gazelles to enhance collective vigilance. While the dense flow of the herd offers a sense of safety, such high density limits individual control. This loss of control creates points of disruption, presenting opportunities for predators. Seizing such an opportunity, a lioness trails the herd, maintaining her distance while waiting for the disruption to spread. She does not rush to accelerate. Instead, she holds her course and monitors fluctuations in the herd's movement. When an individual collides with another and momentarily loses momentum, the moment of opportunity becomes clear. The lioness then accelerates in a straight line, forcing the prey away from the main body of the herd. Once forced out of the moving column, the wildebeest attempts to rejoin but finds no gap to slip back in. As the space closes, the prey's movement options dwindle. The lioness closes in from behind, maintaining a controlled distance and constant pressure. Within seconds, the prey completely loses its stride and is brought down behind the herd. This sequence demonstrates how the entire event unfolds, linking a minor disruption to a continuous chain of actions. In a massive migrating herd, a single collision is enough to trigger a decisive shift. This interaction sustains a natural cycle, helping to maintain the ecosystem's balance. The buffalo detects danger from afar using its keen sight, smell, and hearing. It is tenacious, resilient to blows, and reacts fiercely when threatened, especially when defending members of its herd. When separated from the herd, it retains its fighting spirit but lacks the support of its fellows. While this isolation does not create an immediate vulnerability, it gradually leaves the animal exposed to stalking, allowing the lions to close the distance. As the gap narrows, the pride fans out, maintaining a strategic distance while circling the prey. They force the buffalo to constantly change direction, destabilizing its defensive stance. After repeated turns, the buffalo's defensive rhythm falters. At that precise moment, the pressure shifts into an all-out attack. This shift turns the tide. The lions do not charge simultaneously, but take turns closing in, maintaining constant pressure from multiple angles. The buffalo fights back with thrusts of its horns and holds its ground, yet it cannot control the entire space around it. As its strength wanes and its reaction slow, it is finally subdued and brought down. This encounter illustrates the contrast between individual strength and the sustained pressure of a coordinated group tactic. Even a tenacious individual loses its advantage once its defensive rhythm is disrupted. The prey becomes sustenance for the entire pride, bringing the unfolding sequence to its conclusion. Across semi-arid grasslands, the hyena moves swiftly through short grass and open expanses, where long-range visibility allows for the early detection of threats. Its problem-solving abilities are highly developed, sometimes rivaling those of certain primates. While this acuity often helps avoid conflict, operating alone in such vast, open terrain makes it increasingly difficult to monitor every direction effectively. As its situational control begins to wane, the lions pinpoint their target and precisely maneuver to intercept it. Rather than charging immediately, they methodically tighten the circle, gradually cutting off escape routes. The hyena accelerates and constantly shifts direction, seeking an opening, only to be met with new barriers at every turn, causing its margin of safety to vanish rapidly. Once the encirclement closes in, pressure mounts from multiple directions with escalating intensity. The lions take turns closing the distance, maintaining a relentless offensive rhythm. The hyena snaps back and makes sharp turns, yet struggles to contend with threats coming from all sides. The unremitting pressure causes its reactions to slow. After repeated close-range assaults, the hyena's stamina fails, and it is subdued. As the pressure reaches its peak, the encounter vividly demonstrates the lion's decisive control over both space and timing. Even an intelligent animal loses its advantage when its movement options are steadily constricted. The confrontation concludes with the lions in total control, bringing the sequence of events to a definitive end. Inhabiting Tanzania and various regions across Africa, the cheetah is adapted to semi-arid plains that offer wide visibility. It is a calm, cautious animal, less aggressive than other big cats. When injured, its speed drops and its ability to maintain a safe distance falters. This decline leaves it vulnerable as its protective buffer is compromised. As the gap narrows dangerously, a male lion stalks from behind, maintaining a steady distance while gauging the prey's running rhythm. He does not accelerate immediately, waiting instead for signs of fatigue. When the cheetah's speed dips, a second lion appears from the opposite direction, cutting off the escape route. With the path blocked, the pressure shifts into a direct attack. Trapped in this confined space, the cheetah attempts to accelerate and regain its distance but lacks the necessary reserves. The lions close in from both sides, maintaining control and restricting movement. Weakened, the cheetah's reaction time slows. Within seconds, it is subdued and the confrontation ends. This outcome highlights the distinction between raw speed and the ability to sustain pressure. The cheetah relies on distance for survival, but once that distance is compromised, its advantage vanishes. The elimination of the rival brings a conclusion to a confrontation that had been brewing all along. across the vast plains of sub-Saharan Africa. The giraffe moves among sparse clusters of trees where long-range visibility allows it to detect threats early. It memorizes water sources and food-rich areas, selecting seasonal routes to ensure its safety. However, when it strays from the herd, the surrounding open space expands, and its field of vision begins to reveal more vulnerabilities. As these weaknesses become apparent, the pride of lions does not rush in. Instead, they disperse, maintaining their distance while constantly adjusting their positions. They keep up silent pressure, waiting for the perfect angle of attack. When the prey's rear is exposed for a fleeting moment, the signal to strike is given. A lioness instantly accelerates, closing the gap rapidly and latching onto the giraffe's hindquarters. Once a firm grip is established, intense pressure mounts from multiple directions. The giraffe kicks and twists its body to maintain balance. But every movement is disrupted, pulling it off kilter. Relentless pressure causes its control to rapidly deteriorate. After a tense struggle, the giraffe's strength fails, and it collapses. As the encounter reaches its conclusion, the entire sequence demonstrates the pride's precise control over every stage of the hunt. Even a massive animal loses its advantage when forced to react to threats from multiple directions. The prey becomes a source of nourishment for the entire pride, bringing the orchestrated sequence to a close. In every encounter, the lion relies not merely on brute strength, but also on the precise control of distance, timing, and movement. From exploiting the slightest misstep to completely sealing off space, every action flows seamlessly into the next in an unbroken sequence. When pressure is sustained to the absolute limit, the outcome no longer hinges on luck. Instead, it rests on the ability to command the entire course of events. In open areas where visibility extends to the horizon, these predators don't rely on brute force, but attack with coordinated and relentless pressure. Every movement of the prey is tracked, forced to change direction, and gradually loses its reaction rhythm. When the chase begins, the distance doesn't disappear immediately, but is eroded over time, and the outcome is decided before the prey can regain the initiative. African wild dogs live primarily in savanna grasslands, sparse shrublands, and large open forests in East and South Africa. They prefer open terrain where they can observe prey from a distance and organize prolonged chases. Packs often move across vast territories in search of food, water, and to avoid competition from lions or hyenas. Despite their relatively small size, wild dogs are among Africa's most effective hunters thanks to their ability to work together in packs. They possess exceptional stamina, maintaining high speeds for extended periods to exhaust their prey. When hunting, the entire pack constantly changes positions, surrounding and cutting off the target's escape route. Discipline, teamwork, and strategy are the most powerful weapons of this predatory species. Along the savannas and open woodlands of Africa, leopards live in environments with abundant large trees that provide ample climbing and hiding places. Their ability to drag prey to high altitudes helps them avoid having their food stolen, and also gives them a distinct advantage when facing other predators on the ground, thus requiring caution from any approaching animal. At the edge of the forest, a pack of wild dogs spotted a leopard moving alone and quickly dispersed. Instead of directly approaching, they veered off course, maintaining distance and increasing pressure from multiple directions. As its movement became unstable, short approaches ensued, constantly disrupting its turning trajectory. As tension escalated, the leopard tried to hold its position but quickly lost ground to the relentless pursuit of the pack. Cornered, it was forced to climb a tree to escape. Below, the pack continued its coordinated encirclement, demonstrating the strength of a well-coordinated group. When foraging close to the ground in the open sub-Saharan forests, warthog always keep their heads low, but observe a wide area, using bushes for cover. Their curved tusks and quick head-turning reflexes are their primary defenses, and moving in open spaces forces them to constantly adjust their direction when approached. At the edge of the grassland, the pack of wild dogs maintained a steady rhythm, observing the warthog's reaction step by step. Instead of charging straight, they constantly changed direction to disrupt it. As soon as the prey's turning speed slowed, short, cyclical approaches occurred, forcing the warthog into a defensive position. Immediately, the warthog turned to counterattack in an attempt to maintain distance, but gradually lost ground to the pack's relentless pursuit. As space narrowed and strength diminished, control of the confrontation shifted to the pursuer, thanks to their coordination and ability to maintain pressure over time. Endurance is what allows oryx to survive in the harsh desert and semi-desert regions where many other species cannot thrive. They move across the hot sand with their long horns as a defensive weapon. Therefore, any approach quickly turns into a tense confrontation. On the open sand, the pack of wild dogs didn't charge directly but kept their distance, constantly monitoring the oryx's reaction from every angle. They shifted positions and maneuvered continuously to force it to turn defensively. When its movement slowed, short, close-range attacks occurred. putting the prey on the defensive. Under the heat and the long run, the oryx's stamina gradually diminished. It turned to fight back but could no longer maintain its safety. When its reflexes clearly deteriorated, the subdued animal was subdued, and the hunter gained the upper hand. In this harsh environment, maintaining pressure over time was the decisive factor. Along the transitional zone between savanna and open woodland in East and Southern Africa, impalas are abundant in Kenya, Mozambique, and South Africa. They prefer acacia-covered areas for foraging in the mornings, and then move to open pastures in the evenings. Thus, leaving the shade of trees creates brief, easily tracked moments. On the savanna, a pack of wild dogs spreads out, maintaining distance and reading the target's reaction. Instead of charging straight ahead, they regulate their pace, gradually forcing their movement toward the water's edge. When enough pressure has built up, the entire pack accelerates simultaneously, blocking escape routes and forcing the prey to flee in a confined space. When cornered at the river's edge, the impala hesitates before plunging into the water to widen the distance. At this point, the pack opens an arc. Some enter the water to apply pressure, while the rest block on either side. When the prey's strength wanes, a hold is formed, the combined force causing the target to lose control and fall from its advantageous position. With this hunting style, the difference lies in the coordination and endurance of the entire pack. Once the pace of movement is worn down and escape routes close, the outcome is sealed where the prey has no way to retreat. Amidst the vast, dry grasslands near water sources, wild buffalo move in large herds, relying on strength and solidarity for self-defense. Adult individuals form an outer shield, making direct approach nearly impossible for any single predator. Following the edge of the herd, the pack of wild dogs maintained their distance and observed the buffaloes. Instead of charging in immediately, they constantly changed direction to disrupt the herd, forcing them to turn defensively. When a young buffalo faltered, a coordinated attack ensued, pulling the target away from the protective formation. Immediately afterward, the herd became disordered as individuals returned to provide support but failed to maintain formation. The pack of dogs took turns chasing, wearing down the buffalo's strength when the distance could no longer be maintained. A subduing maneuver occurred, and the young buffalo collapsed, confirming that the collective strategy had determined the outcome. In the African savannas, lions thrive in vast spaces with excellent eyesight and abundant prey. A single individual is dangerous enough, but when in a pride, their ability to coordinate and dominate territory makes them formidable opponents. Amidst the low grass, the pack of wild dogs didn't retreat upon encountering the lion. Instead, they dispersed in multiple directions, maintaining distance and observing its reaction. Instead of directly closing in, they moved in an arc, applying pressure from various angles. At the moment, their opponent lost momentum. Short, quick approaches were launched, forcing the lion's direction of movement to constantly change. When put at a disadvantage, the lion snarled and tried to find an escape route, but couldn't maintain the advantage under prolonged pressure. The pack of dogs alternated in advancing and retreating, narrowing the area of operation. When options were limited, the lion was forced to leave the area to avoid further risk. In this type of encounter, the difference doesn't come from individual strength, but from the ability to sustain pressure over time. When space is fragmented and reactions are skewed, the tide quickly turns in favor of the side controlling the pace. In the Serengeti, wildebeest migrate seasonally during the monsoon season, forming massive migration streams across the open steppes. They prefer short grasses and wide visibility for detecting danger, avoiding dense forests because they hinder acceleration. Therefore, when their density is high, even a small deviation is enough to create gaps in the protective structure. On the grassland, along the edge of the herd, a pack of wild dogs deploys along a long axis, maintaining a steady rhythm to read the direction of the entire antelope herd's turn. They don't approach directly, but constantly cut corners, forcing the target group to change direction. When a young animal breaks away, the pack accelerates, attacking its weak point and dragging it out of the protective circle. The young animal left behind forces the herd to disperse to protect it. The predators take advantage of this vulnerability, relentlessly pursuing and gradually exhausting the prey. When the connection is broken and an opportunity arises, the advantage shifts to the side that is actively controlling the situation. Throughout the hunts, the highlight lies not in individual strength, but in how the pack of wild dogs coordinates, reads the situation, and maintains pressure over time. The key isn't who's faster or bigger, but who controls the pace of movement and forces the opponent into making mistakes. And when the prey loses the initiative, the outcome is almost decided before it can escape.